Welcome to another Women and Investing Wealth Creation series. In this episode, we will be simplifying wealth planning for any life stage with the practical 3-part toolkit. We will cover setting clear financial goals, aligning your budget and investment strategies, as well as estate planning essentials. So join me in conversation with Palesa as we empower you to confidently navigate your financial journey and remain focused through any emotional blocks. Palesa, thank you for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here. In our previous sessions, we've covered the fundamentals that everyone should implement to secure their financial independence. And this question, I want us to focus on wealth creation. To me, it's an intimidating term. I feel like I need to be a multimillionaire before I explore the concept of wealth creation. Is that true?
I'm glad you asked that question. We've got many women that are roughly your age within the space that we work in who are our clients. So this question constantly comes up, and really to address it, we use what is called a 3-part practical toolkit. And within this toolkit, we've got ways in which you can set your goals, ways in which you can align your investment strategy to your budget. We also speak of estate planning. Within the stage that you are in right now, which is more or less, let's call it mid-career right now, you've got a young one and you are married. And so you may be wanting to review your goals because you want to change some of the things or some of the goals that you've had and that you've set previously. And so when you set those goals, you then want to go back and say, okay, are my goals smart? Is my goal attainable? Is it realistic? Is it really the type of goal that I would want to ensure that I focus on now at the stage that I'm in my life? And if that is the case, and if the answers are yes, you're comfortable with where you are, then go into within the practical toolkit, go into reviewing your budget. Is your budget in line with now the stage or the changes that you want to make in your life, or the changes that you have made in your life? Because you may have already made the changes without really looking at your budget, and you can see that something is not balancing. So really you just want to relook at that budget, go back to that 50-30-20 principle that we've spoken about, or that was spoken of previously. And then, of course, your investment strategies need to link into that as well. And then lastly, within this practical toolkit, we speak of estate planning. And within the estate planning space, once again, if you look at the life stages that you are in, you may have looked at it when you were 20, but now you also, again, need to revisit your estate plan and see if the changes that you have now made, the new goals that you now have, are in line with your estate plan, and make changes that would be essential. And all that will assist you in now starting to not only build your wealth, but also to ensure that you're able to transfer it to the next generation.
With all of that said, I'm aligning now my investment strategies. And I know when I started working, I was told to select a retirement product, and I was told to select a risk profile. And I went for the most conservative you can think of. 2 years, 3 years into it, I realized that it has done nothing for me. And I'm assuming this is just purely from my risk preference. How would you advise women in their different life stages as to how to take on risk when they have to, or let go of risk?
Okay. Love that question, Noxie. So once again, within the space that we work in, we use what is called a goal-based investment planning. And with the example that you've just made now, if we just use that and work with that, then retirement planning in its sense is a long-term plan, especially if you're starting at around the age of 20, 25, 30, then certainly you know that you've got another 20, 25, even 30 years that you are still going to be investing. And so it becomes a long-term plan. And what you then want to do is within your plan, you then align that plan with the term that you have. So that's the first thing. When you think of risk, number one, think term. how long am I going to be invested for? I'm going to be invested for 30 years. Now, if I'm going to be invested for 30 years, what sort of interest, let's call them that, because I think that's the more generic term. Within our space, we mostly use we can use yields and other types of terminologies.
Yes.
Return, we can use that. What sort of return or interest am I looking at? You could be looking at a double-digit return. Now, if I go low risk, will I get the double-digit return? And if the answer is no, and of course, the answer is likely going to be no, because on a lower risk investment type of a plan, you also can expect your return to be a little lower.
Because you're taking on less risk.
Because you're taking on less risk. And so, again, you once align it and you say, this is a long-term investment. I want to get the highest possible interest on it, and therefore I need to take a bit longer risk. On the other hand, you could be needing to take a lower risk because you've got a shorter term time horizon. An example of a goal like that, again, I look at you and I think you would like to travel. I would think that traveling is something that we all aspire to do. At even myself at my age, I really am excited about the thought of traveling around the world and seeing the world. Often in those instances, you've got shorter term goals because you want to travel within the next year or two, you want to go overseas and all of that. And so you don't want to expose your money into too much market volatility. As you know now, that volatility is not just limited now to geographic locations. We are global now. Whatever Trump does overseas, it does affect us. And so you need to ensure that if it's money that you will need within a short space of time, you sort of align your risk appetite with that term. And I'm hoping that I've put that as practical as possible. But what's important is that alignment of your term, the goal that you're trying to set, as well as the type of return that you're expecting from the market is very important. And if you can do that, you should be able to achieve your goals, and you should be within the correct risk appetite that you should be at for that particular goal.
If I get you, goal, term, and then the risk part comes in.
Correct.
As much as we've touched on the risk, I do believe that many of us face emotional blocks when it comes to financial planning. And as women, at times, we sort of compromise ourselves in this wealth journey because we take on a lot. We're emotional beings and we take on a lot. I know of a few friends that have made those decisions where you help out a partner and you have already created all this wealth for yourself, but just because you may be in love and partner needs some money to start a business plan, a business venture rather, you loan him the money and the business goes pear-shaped.
When you have money sitting in a unit trust, as an example, I find that, okay, maybe let me make an example with myself. I've got some investments that are sitting in either unit trust or endowment or like that. Even if you ask me if I have money, I'll say no, because those monies are intended for specific goals. If you think of the goal-based investment that I spoke about, I still don't have money. So don't think that I'm going to go and tap into those, even if it's a close family member that is asking me for something. So you help yourself by choosing products and choosing investment strategy and clarifying and crystallizing your goals such that when someone, a loved one, is asking you for something or you want to help them, you can be able to pull yourself back and say, but this is going to mess up with my goals. This is going to mess up with my investment strategy. This is going to not go in line with even my estate plan. Because if you think of estate planning from that practical toolkit, and you've loaned maybe R1 million, what happens to that R1 million when you pass on? That you've lended to the partner, that you did not even sign an agreement on in terms of how they refund your estate if you pass on, or pay back your family if you were to pass on. And so all those things need to be taken into all those things need to be taken into account as you are thinking of going on an emotional route to say, oh, I love this one and therefore I want to be there for them. You can still be there for them, but show them other practical ways of how they can still get to their goal without messing up your goals.
So setting those clear goals allows you to sort of circumvent these emotional blocks that happen. So some of these emotional blocks can be job losses. Some of these emotional blocks can be divorce. And you were on your right path of wealth creation, and you are now hit with this unexpected circumstance. How does one then also rebuild and make sure that wealth creation is still possible with those unintended emotional blocks?
All right. Once again, we'll sort of try and address both the one who has gone down the path and the one who is still going to go down that path. And so perhaps let's start with the one who is still to go down that path. So while you're building wealth and you're not thinking of all the negatives that could come with, and suddenly you have a marriage proposal, you are in your 30s and you have a marriage proposal, you could easily and quickly think, you know what, once again, I'm in love. And I'm not even thinking of divorce at this point in time. And so I'm just going to go for it. And forget about your practical toolkit. And I'm once again saying, go back to your practical toolkit, because whatever decision you make in your life, your finances, one way or the other, whichever way you think of it, will be affected. So you're thinking marriage, now your goals need to change. You need to now go and review those goals. Everything that you're now going to be building or now going to be planning, you will be planning with a loved one, your spouse. And so you need to review, is it still in line? Again, go back to your investment strategies and all of that. So marriage, in fact, is one of the big events that happen in one's life, particularly women's life, that we then often forget to go back and review our own personal financial situations, because now we focus on the one that we are in now, on the unit now. We're forgetting about our own personal ones. But again, Noxie, if you've now gone down the route, you have gotten divorced already, and things didn't go as well as you planned, once again, you sort of want again to go back and say, okay, fine, this is where I am now. Let me review my finances. And again, I'm giving you again the same tool that I've been giving you this whole time, that go back to your practical toolkit. Which goals am I setting now? Because you're probably going to change your goals now. You had a goal together of building this massive house at this beautiful estate. And now you sort of have to think that now I'm going to be living alone. Do I really need a big house? And so again, revise your plans, revise your goals. Go back to your 50, 30, 20. How do you now review and work on a single budget instead of the dual income budget that you've been working on? You're now only working on yours. And then, of course, your investment strategies. You were investing together. You were planning on traveling together. You were planning on buying certain assets together. Now you need to review and say, how do I now look at only myself and the things that I, as a woman, can now achieve by myself with what I have? And then, of course, you go back again, please. That's very important. If you go back to the practical toolkit, hence I love this toolkit so much. You go back to your estate plan and say, now, do I still want to leave everything to my spouse in 100%? Because often, we draw up wills as well. And often you would have said, I'm leaving everything to my spouse. So go back again and see, do you still want to leave everything to your spouse? And those are some of the practical actions that you should be taking. But of course, none of those practical steps that you're taking should be derailing you from your long-term plan of building your wealth. You can still, regardless of what life throws at you.
Yes, I love it. Toolkits, we're always going back to it. Setting your goals, keeping to your budget and your investment strategy, and then estate planning. On estate planning, some people think I'm at a life stage where estate planning is not a concern. I'm in my 20s, I'm in my 30s, I'll see it as soon as I get to 50. Can one still plan for estate at whichever life stage that they may be in?
If you start thinking of your estate plan early on in life. It makes you choose the right products early on in life and not only leave it for later. So for instance, as you're thinking of building your wealth and you want to take, as an example, a particular investment product, if you're thinking of your estate plan, you may be inclined to take some products over others because they already take care of your estate plan. And to make it a bit more practical, for instance, a product like an endowment, you are able to select a beneficiary, while on a unit trust, you're not able to select a beneficiary. So within those products, you need to know that as you're planning your estate and or as you're taking products, you need to know that perhaps for your unit trust, you need to ensure that you do have a will that covers the investment that you are already making within your investment portfolio. And so it's just those small practical things that you need to be thinking of, and then you will realize how important estate planning is.
Thank you so much, Palesa. It's been a very insightful conversation. And I think as we all explore this wealth creation journey, it is clearly very imperative that we keep focus and we keep to the simple 3-part toolkit. And I hope this insight has simplified wealth planning for any of the life stages you may be in. Remember, setting clear financial goals, aligning budgeting and investment strategies, as well as mastering estate planning essentials are key steps to financial success. Stay empowered and confident as you navigate the financial journey, and don't let those emotional blocks hold you back. Until next time, keep striving for your financial goals.